Welcome, traveler. You have summoned the Phoenix Gate, or it has summoned you. This gate appears when comfort readings will no longer provide you with the clarity that you need. I am the Golden Rose, priestess and psychopomp in this liminal space. This reading is about where you take your life back. If you are ready, the crossing begins. What is the current energy of my reader? My viewer? What is the current energy of the person I am reading for? What state are they occupying? It's too many. One or two, please. The warrior and the box. I am feeling the energy of someone who is in conflict with the narratives that they find themselves in. Either social constructs, obligations, career-related things, but this is material, earthly reality things. So somewhere you are feeling the need to expand, and you are feeling resistance, some limiting beliefs that are preventing that expansion in a manner that has you feeling confrontational. To put it in the most grounded way possible, without any further information at this time. So right now, you've got kind of a caged energy, and some discomfort, some feeling like there may be some defensiveness, some wanting to lash out, right? Like a caged warrior. I imagine a caged bull, because the bull imagery is obviously in the warrior card. But I imagine a caged bull when they want to move. And warrior energy is active energy. This is someone who wants to do something. Bull energy, Taurus energy, very earth energy, grounded. When they are in motion, they stay in motion. So this is somebody that wants to move and put things in motion. They want to remain in their status quo. If they're at rest, they want to stay that way too. It's very earth energies. Earth energies change and adapt slowly. But they've run up to this box, this limiting belief that is in the way of their goal. Earth energies don't handle that very well either. So there is some resistance, some limiting beliefs interfering with a person's ambitions, their drive, power. Where has my viewer surrendered their power? Where have they surrendered their power to this box? Your feminine aspect. This may have to do with so divine feminine masculine balance within yourself, definitely. Some inability to accept you may view it as discomfort, because feminine energies for someone who has been conditioned, the box would be conditioning, but if you've been conditioned to go, 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 like a type A personality, the more reviewing, observing, kind of standing back and taking stock energies of the feminine, the taking time to practice self-care of the body and tune in and listen to the body, may feel aggravating. So you've surrendered your power in some of these feminine natures. You have not embraced or even set loose your wild femininity, right? Like a warrior tapped into their wild feminine, their feral feminine. It's what sets fire to boxes. So there's some work that needs to be done in your wounded feminine energies. Okay. What illusion keeps the viewer compliant, keeps their feminine nature in the box, confined? Conjunction, fusion of energies. To me, this is speaking to compliance, trying to be maybe even demure, but trying to blend in, be a part of a larger group. I see this, the bird is flying towards the box. So the programming around consent, conformity, fitting in, groupthink, loyalty to family, all of these conditioning narratives. The illusion that keeps you compliant is that you are obligated to these belief and behavior patterns, which is in complete juxtaposition to the wild feminine nature, which is incredibly independent. Right? So this is about individuation, reclaiming your agency because you have untapped warrior potential, and it's making you resentful. The reason this is a warrior instead of a father or a king or an emperor is because when the feminine nature is confined in these patriarchal, outdated, generational beliefs for periods and social conditions, environmental conditions that no longer apply, that creates the confinement and the resentment and the anger. Right? That puts them in the warrior mode. Okay, that's the angry teenager dynamic when the inner child has been repressed. So this is dealing with the origin of our shadow and that anger within it from where we have had to repress our natures. So what truth, now that we know that we've surrendered our feminine nature, our feminine aspects, the power of our feminine aspects, and in an effort to be compliant and be in balance to fuse with and share energies with these larger systems that we are born in, what truth are we ready to live? What truth is my viewer ready to live? Which is probably what is sparking the warrior to rise. The subconscious can feel, the body can feel the change in the energy before the mind catches up. So it's probably what's triggering the warrior energy. What truth are you ready to live? So you're ready to go after your north node. This is expansion. This is having the ability to cast your vision towards the future versus spending your time in reflection on the past. That is what north node is. South node would be dealing with and unraveling the karma of our past, right? The patterns and conditioning, this would be south node. The patterns and conditioning that were handed to us by other people, the stories about who we are that were narrated to us by other people, the stories about the world that we live in that were given to us by other people with their biases and their perspectives shaped by their limiting conditions. It's ancestral trauma that we have had to fuse with and conform with and suppress our femininity, our independence and individuality has had to fuse with these limiting beliefs, which has created anger and resentment and a need for rebellion. So what The truth we are ready to live is that we need to have a goal and a vision for ourselves and our future and our growth that takes us beyond these limiting beliefs and breaks us apart from some of these energies that we have entangled ourselves with in the formation of those limiting beliefs. Okay, so like mother-father wounds, the devouring mother, the witch wound, the wounded healer, all of these are energies that we have taken into ourselves as identities. Even Lilith is one of those archetypes, identities that we have taken into ourselves and owned. Even mental health diagnosis is an identity you have taken in and owned that was given to you, puts you in a box, in a category that defines certain aspects of you, but not the entirety of you. And it is time to expand beyond this box and set a goal that brings you to the next level, that reveals more. So we're in a process of individuation from what was, taking the ingredients we had and using them to build something new. Okay. What boundary must be established? Companionship and animals. It came out with expansion north and is going with this conjunction and fusion energy. So this is dealing with those relationship patterns, the way we interact with others, because this anger is going to be in the interpersonal relationships, intrapersonal. The between other people, I do always get those two confused. I believe intra is between two external to each other people. Inter is within oneself. But this is about being able to set within yourself the boundaries on your own identity and how it is entangled with the stories and narratives of others, or that were given to you by others, which is the box that confined you. Anywhere where you were defined by another person is an entanglement with what you know to be true about yourself. This is what we are confronting here. So that is the boundary that must be set. That may lead you to actually setting physical boundaries with people. For example, if you have someone who is always cutting you down, you want to cut them out. If you have someone who is always throwing doubt or shade over any of your goals or ambitions, or when you are successful is always like, yeah, but what was the cost in that? You might want to set actual boundaries with those people, because you cannot allow people to speak doubt over you. Your subconscious does not know that they are not you. And it believes that everything that it hears is communicating about itself. So when you are talking about another person, your subconscious thinks you're talking about yourself. When your subconscious hears people talking about anything, it believes they're talking about itself. So you have to set those boundaries and protect yourself from the hard words of another that communicate anything less than what your true value is. Okay, so set those boundaries. Those are your entanglements, or these narratives others have given you. So your boundaries is with others, and where you form your relationships and what types of relationships you are going to continue to form with others. All right, let us pause at this threshold to take in the view. We have felt what is ending, what truths ask to be faced. Change often carries grief alongside liberation. There is a pain in letting go of these identities that we have lived that were not quite true, and the ones that we never quite became. So allow yourself to acknowledge the grief for the versions of us in life that never happened. Before we take flight from here with this knowledge, take one audible, slow breath and then release it. Now, let's reveal the wings you are forming. What decision in these relationships and situations with these limiting beliefs, what decision restores your authority? On your path to individuation, self-actualization, what decision restores your authority? Empty well. Time to replenish. Being willing to scrape off these old identities, being willing to put these beliefs aside, often comes with the fear of what's on the other side and a not knowing. And there can be a temptation when you have stripped yourself of one identity and are still in the process of getting comfortable in the new one, to go back towards the old identity, that empty well, the peace, the quiet. When you start setting these boundaries, the drama slows down. People come to you with their trauma and turmoil a lot less. They emotion dump on you a lot less, trauma dump on you less. And that can leave you more time, more room for your attention to be spread and directed by yourself. That feels empty. It feels quiet. We get addicted to our familiar suffering, and in that quiet, we can become uncomfortable and go backward. So deciding to be comfortable with the uncomfortable and allowing yourself the time to replenish and discover what it feels like to be in your true skin. Because what this discomfort is you've lived in this box so long you don't know what it feels like to be authentically you anymore. And I'm not saying that you weren't authentic in any moment. You are always authentic in any moment, but you do not know what it feels like without these stories being owned on your skin. Okay, you are teaching yourself to hear them as a passing cloud instead of an I am statement, and that feels different. So give yourself time for that. Okay? And that will restore your authority, being comfortable with the uncomfortable without feeling like it means you need to make a choice or make a move. And that will help with the anger. Okay, meditation will help with that. And what single action proves that they are successfully crossing into this new phase? That they are successfully accepting this empty well? Your ego will start calming, which means your mind will begin to have less noise that sounds like doubt, that sounds like fear, that sounds like what if and maybe, and all those old voices from our past. The parent voice in your brain from your critical parent or your critical authority, the first authority that introduced you to criticism, is the voice that we carry in our head that we beat ourselves up with our whole lives. You will start to hear that less. And that when you hear that peace and the noise reduce and the conflict within yourself, the cognitive dissonance reduce, that is your sign that you are crossing into your new phase, that you are over this threshold, right? It's kind of like when you are quitting a physical addiction like smoking, and you notice that you're not feeling the urge to go outside or to pick something up and put it to your mouth anymore, right? That hand to mouth is the hardest part. So this would be akin to not experiencing and noticing that you're not experiencing that desire and drive to do that habit action anymore, is what that is. What internal or external support is available to my viewer as they are traversing this Phoenix gate? As they are setting these boundaries within themselves to not live within these limiting beliefs anymore, giving themselves permission to create new beliefs, new goals that are independent of these past stories, opening up opportunities. What is their support, internal or external? You will experience an increase in your productive and creative energies. So you'll have more intuitive downloads if you're intuitive. If you are artistic, you will see an increase in your inspiration for that. Whatever you are creating, you will start to feel more inspiration, more ease in the creation. Your productivity will probably increase. It will likely increase. So you'll see all of these things improve, which brings you more satisfaction with your effort. So if you can sit with the discomfort of the empty well long enough to start hearing the quiet in your mind settle in and the arguments set aside, the reward is going to be the increase in your ability to produce and see the reward from that. One final message. What message does their evolved self send back to them? What's their evolved self want them to know? And to go right along with Lilith, the witch, experimentation, rebellion, you are supported. This is about a witch wound. This is about being able to get in touch with your feminine energies, heal your inner feminine, rebel from these narratives that no longer fit you, right? You're allowed to outgrow your shoes. You're allowed to outgrow your clothes. You're allowed to outgrow these identities and beliefs that no longer fit you anymore. That is what this is. All the rest of this are just archetypes and labels that we are using to describe this. But you have beliefs, habits, patterns that no longer fit your life. You have outgrown them. And when you start allowing yourself to do that, you're going to see a lot more creativity, experimentation, and rebellion. You're going to be thinking outside of the box, which helps your creativity, and this will lead to a boon, right? North Node, that is your life goal, your purpose. So you're going to start living in your purpose and experiencing the magic of the witch. So work on your inner feminine. Set your boundaries with these relationships where you need to set the boundaries within yourself over these thoughts that support your limiting beliefs, and you are well on your way. The Phoenix Gate has opened. The fire has claimed truth. The ashes have been witnessed. The wings are forming. What you carry forward from this gate is yours to nurture, protect, and grow. Transformation is rarely loud. It is often quiet choices repeated over time. You are allowed to move at the pace your truth requires. Thank you for crossing this threshold beside me. If this reading spoke to your journey, you are invited to share what resonates in the comments. Until the next gate summons.